Hello and welcome. If you're an English teacher, you've definitely felt the struggle. You teach a spelling rule, and then bam, your students find 10 words that completely break it. Well, today, we're going to dive into the system behind the sounds of English, giving you the tools to make pronunciation clear, systematic, and, dare I say it, actually pretty simple. This is the million-dollar question, isn't it? It's the one that causes so much confusion for our students, and let's be totally honest, sometimes for us too. I mean, why does through sound one way, but though and tough sound completely different? The answer isn't in the letters themselves. Nope, it's in a hidden system that controls all the sounds, and that system is called phonology.
So what is phonology, really? Well, it's the study of a language's sound system. But let's think of it less like a dry academic topic and more like the secret decoder ring for English pronunciation. It covers everything from the tiny individual sounds to word stress and even the musical melody of our sentences. And trust me, understanding this is the key to unlocking clear, confident pronunciation for your students.
So in this explainer, we're going to go on a little journey. We'll start with the absolute basics, that critical difference between letters and sounds. Then we'll see how those sounds build words, using stress, how that creates the rhythm of a whole sentence, and finally, how we add meaning with the music of speech. By the end, you're going to have a practical toolkit you can use in your classroom like tomorrow. All right, let's get started with the most fundamental concept, and honestly, the one that causes the most confusion. This idea that letters are not the same thing as sounds. Just take the letter A. Seems simple, right? But if a student asks you, what sound does this letter make? What do you say? It's actually a bit of a trick question. Because of course, that single letter A can make a whole bunch of different sounds. It can be the A in hat, the A in made, or that weak sound in about. You see, one letter, many sounds. And this is exactly why we can't just rely on spelling to teach pronunciation. It just doesn't work.
And that's why we need to focus on phonemes, not letters. So a phoneme is the smallest little unit of sound that can actually change a word's meaning. Think about pan and ban. The only difference there is that tiny puff of air, the phoneme, that separates the p and b sounds. These are the real building blocks of spoken English.
So how on earth do we keep track of all these sounds? Well, we use the Phonemic Chart. Think of it as your complete map to every single sound in the English language. It's all organized really logically into vowels, diphthongs, which are kind of like combined vowels, and consonants. So if a student is struggling to hear the difference between the sounds in ship and sheep, you can literally point to them right here. It's an absolutely essential visual tool for your classroom.
Okay, so now that we have the individual phonemes, our building blocks, let's look at how they come together to make words. Because it's not just about stringing sounds together in the right order, it's about giving each word its own unique shape. And we do this through something called word stress. In pretty much any English word with more than one syllable, one of those syllables is going to get pronounced more strongly. We say it a little louder, we hold it a little longer, and our pitch often goes up a bit. Just think about how you say vegetable. See how that first syllable gets all the attention? That's what gives English words their signature rhythm. Let's see this in action with the word important. The main stress slams down on that middle syllable, important. And notice what happens to that final syllable, tant. It becomes weak, it kind of fades away. Now here's the key takeaway. Getting this stress pattern right is often way more important for being understood than getting every single vowel sound perfect. And that weak, faded out sound we just saw, it has a name. And it is the secret superstar of the English language, the schwa. It's just a lazy, neutral, unstressed sound. And it's the single most common sound in all of English. Why? Because it's the sound of efficiency. Teaching your students to hear and use the schwa is a massive shortcut to sounding so much more natural. Okay, so this idea of strong and weak sounds doesn't just happen inside a single word. It actually scales up to create the entire rhythm and the beat of an English sentence. Now, here is a really crucial point. English is what's known as a stress-timed language. What that means is our rhythm comes from stressing the most important words in a sentence. We call these content words, the ones that carry the meaning, like nouns and verbs. And all the little function words, like the, and to, they just get squeezed and unstressed. If we don't follow this rule, speech sounds really unnatural. I mean, listen to this. The girl ran to the sea.
each word gets the exact same weight. It sounds totally robotic, and it's actually harder to understand because your listener has no idea which words to focus on. Okay, now listen to it with natural sentence stress. The girl ran to the sea. You hear that beat? Da-da-da, da-da-da, da-da-da. We punch the key content words, and the little function words just get squeezed in between. That right there is the natural rhythm of spoken English, and it's something native speakers do without even thinking about it. So, we've got our sounds, we've got our words, we've got our rhythm. The very last layer we need to add is the melody, or what linguists call intonation. This is how we communicate meaning and emotion that goes way beyond the dictionary definition of the words themselves. Intonation is really just the way our voice rises and falls when we speak. And this vocal music is incredibly powerful. It tells our listener if we're happy or sad or surprised, and critically, it can change the entire job of a sentence, turning a statement into a question without changing a single word. For instance, a simple statement in English usually has a falling intonation. Listen, school's just finished. My voice goes down at the end. That falling pitch just signals that I'm stating a fact. Plain and simple. Now, let's use the exact same words, but just change the music. School's just finished? See how my voice goes up at the end? That rising intonation completely transforms it. It's not a statement anymore. It's a question, probably showing that I'm surprised or I need you to confirm it. Same words, different music, totally different meaning. All right, we've covered a lot of ground, from tiny little phonemes all the way up to the broad melody of speech. So let's put this all together into a practical toolkit that you can take right back to your classroom. So here it is, your Phonology toolkit. You've got phonemes, the true sounds, and the Phonemic Chart to map them all out. You've got word stress to give words their proper shape, and the Schwa, the secret to nailing those unstressed syllables. Then you have sentence stress to create that natural rhythm. And finally, intonation to add the melody and the real meaning. Every single one of these is a powerful tool you can use. You know, when you really get these concepts, you're no longer just telling students to listen and repeat. You can actually diagnose their problems with precision. You can ask, is the problem a single phoneme? Is it the word stress? Are they stressing every single word in a sentence? This knowledge literally transforms pronunciation teaching from a frustrating list of exceptions into a logical system that you and your students can navigate together. So, my final question for you is this. As you're planning your next class, just think about one of these tools. Could you use word stress to explain the difference between record and record? Maybe highlight sentence stress in a short dialogue. How could you use just one of these ideas to create a genuine aha moment for your students? That moment where the puzzle of English pronunciation suddenly starts to click into place.